All right, let's begin this segment in Morocco, where rapid economic development has transformed much of the northwestern coastline, spurring a lively private sector. However, a large class of impoverished Moroccans are still left behind and living on the margins. Let's watch this.
Rani, a Moroccan shepherd living in the impoverished town of Azrou, suffers from back pain. He doesn't know if he will ever have the means to seek medical help. Amrani's house has no electricity or running water, and he dreams of moving to a better life in the city.
We live a difficult life. We wish to live in the city and live like other residents in a clean environment and be closer to electricity and schools.
The shepherd is part of a large class of impoverished Moroccans left behind by the rapid development that has transformed much of the northwestern coastline with multi-billion-dollar infrastructure projects. Morocco's rampant inequality is stirring some unease in the country's political class, particularly after the protests in northern Rif Mountain region in 2017-2018 and the mass demonstrations in neighboring Algeria this year. In Azrou, located in the Middle Atlas Mountains east of Rabat, villagers spend their evenings in the dark. They have to collect drinking water by donkey from a well a mile away. In the high cedar forest of the Middle Atlas, where troops of makakis lurk along the gloomy tree line, some former nomads still live in tents roofed with plastic sheeting on a barren plateau far from the nearest school or hospital.
The problem is that the government always treats the residents of the mountain as a burden, even though it's a source of income. If there is a will by the government, the problems of poverty could at least be relatively reduced. There is a big gap. I mean, Morocco of the high-speed train, the offshoring, and the Morocco of investments directed towards Africa and Europe is not the same Morocco that we see here.
Economic growth averaged 4.5% from 2000 to 2012, but only 3% since then, a relatively low figure for an emerging market. A quarter of Moroccans are either poor or at risk of poverty, a recent World Bank report said, and the kingdom ranks 123rd in the UN's Human Development Index. Agriculture employs about 40% of Moroccan workers, but a dry year can cut overall economic growth by more than a percentage point and leave many without work.
And in Mali, Lake Virginia, which provides water to thousands of Malians, is shrinking because of the greater heat and unprecedented rainfall, and NGOs are fighting to mitigate the effects of global warming and save the communities that depend on it. The Sahel emits considerably less greenhouse gases than the United States or China, but the temperature is rising 1.5 times faster than the global average. It is one of the most vulnerable to climate change.
Modeste Traoré is a 56-year-old fisherman who has lived all his life in Lake Wegnia in Mali's Sahel region of Koulikoro, 120 kilometers north of the capital, Bamako. Fishing on Lake Wegnia has provided for his father and grandfather before him and all their dependents. Traoré provides for his wife and 14 children. He wanted at least some of them to become fishermen like him and continue the tradition. But global warming means the lake is evaporating, the fish are fewer, and Traoré's future and that of his family is uncertain.
The problem with the lake is that it is shrinking and that the water doesn't stay long enough like it used to. It becomes completely dry at some point in the year. We are very worried.
Lake Wegnia is a source of food, water and income for around 12,000 people, including fishermen, farmers and herders. It has shrunk by 20% since 2017, according to figures from the International Center for Development and Research and Analysis from Hydro Solutions Limited. The lake is a designated Ramsar site, a wetland of international importance. The lake and surrounding humid zones represent 3,900 hectares of permanent freshwater and marshes with a rich biodiversity. Rising temperatures, uneven rainfall and erosion has put huge pressure on the communities. The United Nations describes the Sahel region as one of the most environmentally degraded regions in the world and has projected temperatures to increase 1.5 times higher than the global average. An NGO, Caritas Suisse, is leading a project, Ecolag Wegnier, to change agricultural practices and improve water management in an effort to save the communities and fight the direct effects of global warming.